Now, just in case we have anybody joining our coverage over this event, I kind of want to re-explain what this event is all about because it's all about one character, and that would be Wave Rider. Now, for Wave Rider, he comes from the future, the year 2030. But the thing is, in his future, the entire world is being controlled and ruled by one character, a character known as Monarch. Now, we have no idea who Monarch is just yet. But when it comes to Wave Rider, his main goal is to prevent his future from actually coming into existence. And the reason why, because Monarch is the sole ruler of the entire world, but also Monarch was a hero who had turned technically evil, who kind of felt like the best way to make the world a better place was to go ahead and get rid of all heroes and villains across the world. And the thing is, it was one big event that took place in the year 2001. And so for Wave Rider, he went back in the year 1991, 10 years prior from the actual big event where Monarch came to life. And so his main goal is to figure out which hero is going to turn evil 10 years later in the year 2001 and become Monarch and kill off all the heroes and villains across the board and also become the sole ruler of the entire world. And that's kind of like a quick rundown of the whole idea of this event, but also this character as well. Now, for Wave Rider, with him being back in the year 1991, he has to touch the different heroes around that time to figure out which of those heroes is going to turn evil in the year 2001. And so each of the chapters of this event is really more taking place in different books that belongs to different heroes. So a Batman annual, a Superman annual, or a Flash annual. And you then have Wave Rider look 10 years into that character's future to kind of see if that character is going to turn evil and become Monarch. And so we're going to talk about Batman Annual number 15. Now, of course, this is all about Batman, the possibility of him becoming Monarch. And so as we get into the opening pages of this book, we're really picking up with Batman, Bruce Wayne here, kind of wondering in the possibility of him dying soon or down the road. He's kind of wondering when that day will finally come because he's kind of wondering, will he be able to completely get rid of crime in Gotham City? But the idea of him possibly dying is on his mind, but he says, you know what? That is down the road. For now, let's go ahead and handle tonight the best we can. Now, for Bruce Wayne, he does see a bunch of thugs going after a random guy, right? And so you have Batman go out of his way to defend that person. Now, that person he's trying to defend is actually Wave Rider, pretending to be somebody else so that he is able to get close to Batman. And so once you have Batman being able to get rid of those thugs, you did have Wave Rider touch Batman's hand. And this begins the whole idea of us seeing the possibility of Bruce Wayne becoming Monarch. We now jump 10 years into the future. And so as we get into the possible future for Bruce Wayne, we're picking up with the idea that the Joker is being released. And the reason why, because the Joker has now been classified as a sane person. He's no longer the crazy Joker character we knew him as over the years. And so with the Joker now being a free man, is also Robin, Tim Drake, giving up because he kind of hates the idea that it's been years now of them fighting against crime, but unfortunately, they're not getting anywhere. Gotham is still a horrible place. And so it's Tim saying he has to find another way to help out Gotham City. We don't even stop there because we also learn that different villains of the Batman have been officially been killed off as well. Scarecrow, Killer Moth, the Riddler. You have all these different characters dying left and right. And so with the death of these villains, you have the police look at Batman first. Now, for Batman, he's free because they're kind of like, hey, you know what? It's not him. He kind of proved that he is an innocent man. But that all changes on one particular night where you have the Penguin and two guys trying to steal some kind of jewels. The problem is that when you have the Penguin get there, he realized it's a possible setup. The item he went there for is not there. Now, you do have Batman appear and try his best to stop the Penguin. The problem is that you have the Penguin fall off a fire escape and onto the ground. And with his age, there's no way he could survive that type of fall. And so it now looks like that it was Batman who had just killed off the Penguin. And so just like that, this begins the possibility of Batman becoming Monarch. Now, for a brief moment, we jump over to Killer Croc. Now, in this possible future for Killer Croc, he leaves behind the thug life and becomes a wrestler to make some honest money. And so we see him on TV fighting against two people who had dressed up as Batman and Robin, and you have Killer Croc being that person to take them down very easily. Now, while you have Killer Croc fighting on live television, we jump over to a prison. And at first, you have all the different inmates talk about the idea of Killer Croc being a wrestler, but then you have them transition to talk about Batman. And so this is the moment where we kind of find out that Batman is in prison as well, because again, he killed off the Penguin. Even though it was an accident, you had Bruce Wayne go ahead and turn himself in. And so as we jump over to Batman's cell, we're picking up with Jim Gordon and also Sarah Essen paying Batman a visit inside his cell. Now, Sarah Essen is the second wife to Commissioner Gordon around his time in DC Comics, but they're both police officers, and they tried their best to talk to the mayor. And the reason why, because with this brand new mayor, he had installed the death penalty. And so now it's the whole idea that Batman is going to die in the chair because he killed off the Penguin. They tried their best to change the mayor's mind, but the mayor said like, hey, that man killed somebody. And also this mayor hates the idea of vigilantes. So for Jim and Sarah, they walk out, but for Jim, he's so heartbroken because he built a strong friendship with Batman. But I want to jump back over to the Joker, because with the Joker now being declared sane, you have the Joker on a new path, a path of a brand new career, a late night show. And that late night show will be somewhat important for the later parts of this storyline. But for the Joker, we're seeing him meet up with the three doctors who had declared that he was a sane person. Now, these three doctors are very scared, kind of giving us the idea that it was the Joker who kind of forced these doctors to declare that the Joker was sane. But you did have the Joker say, you know what? It's time for me to go ahead and pay you guys back. And then we see the Joker call in two people, Dan and Art. But now we have to pick up with Selina Kyle. Now, this is Catwoman going after the two people who was with the Penguin that night when he fought against the Batman and had, lost against the Batman, was killed off by Bruce Wayne. And so she wants to know everything that happened that night. And the guy is telling her every single piece of detail that we had saw earlier. The only difference is that you have Selina ask, who told the Penguin about the idea of stealing that huge diamond that was technically not there? Like, who possibly had set up the Penguin? And you had the guy say, why not go ask Killer Croc? He's the one person right now out of all the villains who has not been killed off yet. Like, it's him and the Joker. And right now, most likely it was Killer Croc. And so you have Selina say, you know what? It's time for me to question the Croc. But now we have to jump over to Batman. Now, for Batman, he has another visitor, and that would be Tim Drake. Except for Tim Drake, this man left the life behind of being Robin to get into politics, to find a different way to make Gotham a better place. But now it's Tim Drake kind of thinking that he let Batman down. By not being in Batman's corner, most likely it led to him possibly killing Penguin and of course getting Batman in jail. But it's Bruce saying like, no, I was just not being my usual self. And then the thing is, he fell off, and because of his age, there was no way he could survive that fall. Now, it's also Tim wanting to find a way to help out Batman. But Batman says, no, like, I killed the Penguin. I have to pay for the crimes that I had committed. But right after you have Tim Drake leave, you have somebody call up Batman on the phone. And of course, it's the Joker. Now, with the Joker now having a brand new late night show, his big show, he wants to have Batman there before Batman is killed off. It's the way the Joker's saying, look, I became this same person and you have became, well, the insane person because you killed off the Penguin. But you know what? I feel like for my new late night show, I should have the one person I had fought so many times over the years right before he is killed off. And so while you have Batman on the phone with the Joker, somebody else is trying to break into the prison. And for Batman, this is perfect because he realized the possibility that everything happening is because of the Joker. And so you have Batman say, hey, Joker, you know what? I'm down. Why don't you go ahead and come over here tonight or tomorrow night to do your interview for your show? But now we jump over to the Joker. And when we do, it's really more of us getting the chance to see the Joker give us one of his episodes for the late night show, where really it's the first one. And it's really him trying to show that he has changed, that he is a sane person by doing different types of tricks that he would originally use as a way to kill off people, but really not using them at all. Just small little gags here to make everyone laugh. But it kind of showed that he is a better person. Now, the show does not last that long. And the reason why, because he's trying to move on and get into the big part of his show. The idea of being able to interview the Batman before he dies, but also have the chance to, watch the Batman die. But now we jump over to Tim Drake. Now, for Tim Drake, it's him going back over to Wayne Manor to get his Robin suit. And honestly, it's kind of cool to see that Alfred is still alive even 10 years in the future. Yes, I know it's only 10 years, but I feel like in most future Batman stories, Alfred is usually dead, I feel like. I don't know. But either way, you do have Tim Drake go into the Batcave. He sees Alfred, but he does get his old Robin suit to begin to help out Batman get out of prison to figure out who is trying to frame him. But now we have to jump over to Batman, who's being confronted by Anarchy. Now, for Anarchy, he was kind of a big character in the early 1990s when it came to Tim Drake coming around as well. But for Anarchy, he was a character who also believed in the idea of being a vigilante to bring justice into Gotham. The only difference is that when it came to Anarchy, he was not afraid to cross that line. He was not afraid to, killing people as a way to bring justice. And so for Anarchy, he kind of did look up to Batman somewhat, but right now he wants to help Batman get out of prison to continue to deliver justice across Gotham. Now, if you had asked Batman earlier, he'll say no, but something has changed thanks to that phone call with the Joker. And so for Batman, it's kind of like, you know what, Anarchy, you can help me out here, but not in the way you're trying to do. Now, for Catwoman, you do have her go pay a visit over to Killer Croc. And the reason why, because earlier she was told that, hey, Killer Croc might be the one behind everything. Now, we already know it's the Joker, but you do have Selina Kyle go over to fight against Killer Croc, where she does win the battle. Now, the only reason why she does win this battle is because Killer Croc forgot how to fight like he was in the streets. But because now he's a wrestler, he forgot some of his old moves. But either way, for Catwoman, it's her saying like, hey, I need to know what in the world is going on here. Like, are you behind the idea of Batman being framed as a killer? And he says no, that technically it was the Joker. And she can find information at the Joker's new home. And so for Selina Kyle, this is perfect. She now has the ability to prove, or possibly the ability to prove, that Batman is innocent. Now, for Tim Drake, we're seeing Tim Drake going out of his way to break into the prison to hopefully break out Batman. Except while trying to do that, he runs into Anarchy. Now, as their battle continues on, because Robin knows Anarchy very well, you do have some security guards of the prison appear and try their best to stop both Anarchy and Robin. But you do have the two guys get away. But in the middle of the battle, there was a signal that kind of told Tim Drake, like, wait, something is off here about Anarchy. But you do have the two characters just drive off in the Batmobile. Now, you have the Joker arrive. When the Joker arrives, it's him being very happy about the idea of interviewing the Batman, watching the Batman. And so we're seeing him kind of give us the introduction to his show. And so you do have the warden of the prison allow the Joker to go into the cell of Batman. But here comes the big catch, because while you do have the Joker ask Batman all these different questions, at first, he's not saying anything. But you didn't have the Joker go out of his way to unmask the Batman, to kind of see, okay, who are you and what in the world is going on here? And we come to find out it's not Bruce Wayne. That Bruce Wayne had left pretending to be Anarchy and right now with Robin, because Batman now knows that the Joker is up to something. And so the Joker realized that he has now just been officially played by the Batman. And also there has been a prison break. And so when we jump back over to Tim Drake, it's Tim Drake being like, I knew it. When I hit you, there was something different about you. But now it's time for the dynamic duo to work together once again to prove that Batman is innocent and Joker is still insane. But now we have to jump over to Selina Kyle. And when we do, it's Selina Kyle trying to break into the base of the Joker and trying to get information to prove that Batman is innocent. She has no idea that Batman had broken out recently. But you do have Selina Kyle be confronted by, well, two guards. Now, these two guards seem to me like werewolves. I could be wrong there, but they do seem to be like werewolves who were recruited by the Joker to help protect the place. And so you have these wolves begin to get the jump on Selina Kyle. Now, by the time Batman and Robin do appear, and you do have the two guys being able to get rid of those two werewolves, unfortunately, those werewolves have did some serious damage to Catwoman to the point where she's going to die in the arms of Batman. So it's Batman losing somebody else he cares so much for. And so you have Batman say, enough is enough. It's time for the Joker to die. Or really, it's time to end things with the Joker, kind of hinting at the possibility that yes, Batman is going to become Monarch. This moment right here led to him becoming the Monarch character in the far future. And so this kind of leads into the ending of the book, where we're now getting into the idea of us seeing Batman going after the Joker. Now, he left Tim Drake behind to look through computers to kind of find the information that they're looking for, while he goes out of his way to go after the Joker, to defeat the Joker. Now, this battle does last for a few pages. Matter of fact, there's one point where you have the Joker being able to hit Batman with some laughing gas. And so it kind of, again, begins the idea of thinking that there's a possibility that Batman might become Monarch. But as the battle continues on, you then have the Joker pull out some kind of small sword and try to stab Batman. Now, when he misses, he does stab an outlet, which of course leads into him being electrocuted. And so this is the end for the Joker. He dies right here and there. And you do have Tim Drake being able to catch up to find Batman standing over the dead body of the Joker. Now, again, Batman was hit with laughing gas. So we're still trying to see here, is there a possibility that Batman might become Monarch down the road? Now, this kind of ends the whole story of the possible future for Batman. So we jump back over to the present day, where you have Wave Rider tell Batman, like, no, you're not going to become Monarch. So now we know officially that it's not Batman, but it's also Monarch saying, like, but there's still the possibility that you might become something else, because you're that person who brings fear into the city, trying to make sure crime stay away from your city. And the city has a lot of different reasons to thank you for. But at the same time, you're someone who could be easily corrupted and lead into a dark path. But it's Wave Rider here saying that it's not Batman who becomes Monarch, but he could become something else that could be even worse or close to Monarch. But either way, the books end with Wave Rider continuing on to try to figure out who's going to become Monarch in the dark future. And so with that being said, guys, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.